Hey, what's going on, everyone? I'm Andrew at St. Croix Cards, and this is SlabStox FC World Cup Show. And I gotta ask, is your blood pressure, is your heart rate down? Because we just experienced one of the greatest games that I have ever seen. Probably the greatest game that I have ever witnessed. So today I just want to kind of wrap everything up. It is the World Cup. It is over. We have finished it, and we have tied. We have closed that chapter, and it is time to look at what did we just witness? What did we just experience together? And maybe just a little bit of what can we look forward to in the years to come. But the stage was set, right? The stage was set. We got to the semifinals. We were looking at Argentina, Croatia, France, Morocco. And if you're like me, and maybe a lot of other people, you looked at those four teams, and for most people, it was a pretty interesting matchup if we could get Argentina versus France. Like, that is what I think a lot of people wanted to see. And Saturday came and went. I was set up at a card show in Stevens Point, Wisconsin, and I actually had the game on a TV behind me watching Croatia, Morocco, and I was so impressed with how many people, who had no take in soccer, did not care whatsoever, came in and they would be like, oh, I thought that game was on tomorrow. And I said, oh, this is a third place game. Yeah, you want that game tomorrow because that game tomorrow is Argentina, France. But huge shout out to Croatia for winning third place and beating Morocco. But huge shout out to Morocco too, finishing fourth. Highest finisher of any African nation ever. So kudos to them. But really all eyes were on this game. This game of Argentina versus France. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see the image of Messi and Mbappe there. If you're listening, I've got the World Cup in the center. I've got Messi on the left and Mbappe on the right. And really the build up to this game was pretty big. A lot of the storylines, Messi, it's his fifth World Cup. Is he finally going to get the World Cup that he's been searching for? Mbappe, he's 23. He turns 24 on December 20th. So maybe you're listening to this and it's Mbappe's birthday. I don't know, but could he have two World Cups before he's 24? That would be incredible. What are the teams going to look like? There was, reports of illness, going through the French camp and what that was going to look like. And the buildup seemed to be really big. And one of the things that concerns me when you get to a game of this magnitude is that the buildup, the hype that kind of precedes the game, it never kind of the game itself never kind of reaches the hype that was before the game. And that was simply not the case in this game. I thought, the hype was coming up, how is this game going to live up to all the expectations? And this game did. This was the greatest game that I've, just the emotions, the ebbs, the flows. Like, I was captivated, and I didn't even have a stake in the game. I was not Team Argentina. I was not Team France. I just want to watch a phenomenal game. And I had the opportunity to watch with some really, really close friends of mine who are not soccer fans, who are not, they kind of are casual fans, and they invited us over to the game. And so we went, and they were just emotionally invested. You watched Argentina jump up to 2-0, and once they figured out, Messi at 35, this could be his first one, they're kind of cheering on Messi. And then Mbappe comes back, with the two goals in 93 seconds. He gets the penalty, and then that beautiful volley, in the 80th and, close to the 80th minute. And now you have 10 minutes to go, and it's tied 2-2. You're looking at the crowds. France is going crazy. Argentina, they're already kind of emotionally, charged, and you're starting to see tears roll down. And then in extra time, Messi gets that goal, and they're up 3-2. And then the penalty, and Mbappe gets his hat trick. We're going back and forth. I was standing, I was sitting, I was standing, I was sitting. It was just a game that you pulled along with, right? And you didn't know how it was going to end. Then you get the penalty kicks. Mbappe makes his penalty kick. Messi makes his. And then it comes down to your team, your goalies in the team. And Argentina wins the World Cup. And this iconic image, and I love this image. And if you're listening, this is the Messi holding the golden ball as the most valuable player of the tournament, but he's also kissing the World Cup trophy. After 4 tries, on his 5th try, he's able to win the World Cup for Argentina. And for me, it took a really long time. I was really excited for a very, very long time after it. I couldn't put into words what I saw. And to me, I'm just gonna say it was the greatest game that I've ever had the chance of watching. And I don't know. I mean, it lived up to all the hype, all the storylines. It was just absolutely incredible. And then it got me to thinking, as we look at the World Cup as a whole, how does this look? How do we break this all down? Not only from a fan perspective, but we also want to take a look at it from a hobby perspective. And so I brought up the sales volume. There's a sales total of Messi cards. This comes right from his index, and it starts on the 11/19, so November 19th, day before the World Cup starts, and runs all the way till the 18th. And I thought it was just interesting as really the first big tournament, the first World Cup with kind of the change of the hobby over the past 4 years. It was really interesting to see just kind of the ebbs and flows of sales totals as we look at this, and I kind of put some points of reference on there. You see some peaks of Messi sales during the tournament. You saw a big peak as they beat Australia in the round of 16. You see another peak as they take out Croatia. But really just looking at what the sales volume did after the World Cup. I mean, it just goes north and it doesn't seem to stop. So, I think I learned a lot, and I hope you did too throughout the course of the tournament, just seeing, when people were willing to purchase Messi cards or players who had performed well, and maybe when you could have kind of purchased them for, a price that was more conducive to what you wanted to spend. But we definitely saw some ebbs and flows throughout the tournament. Just a couple that I want to highlight, as the market has changed quite rapidly and differently since the middle of summer of 2022, I thought it was interesting. I wanted to pull up a couple autos of Messi just to kind of see where prices were at. Now, this is 2014 Panini Prism PSA 9 auto. This sold May 5th. So May 5th, it sold for $3,600. So really healthy sale there back in May 5th. October 16th, the same PSA 9 sold for $1,920. And then after the World Cup, we had 2 fixed prices. One sold for $3,000 as a fixed price, and another one sold for $3,499.99 fixed price. So this is back to, we're just $100 below where the prices of this PSA 9 were in May. So pretty healthy sales here post the World Cup. And similar to that, you also see this is 2019-2020. This is Messi's red refractor auto out of 10. So extremely low numbered. They're both PSA 9s, but it sold April 23rd for $4,250, and then it sold post the World Cup final, post the win for Argentina, for $4,550. Now, there's been a lot of talk about the market as a whole, and as prices start to dip, and here you're not seeing that. You're seeing some movement upwards. You're seeing some positive gains in some of his low-numbered auto stuff, as well as his 2014 Prism. But you're seeing movement based on accomplishment. He has that World Cup. He won the most valuable player of the tournament. And so a lot of things you can see are going northwards as wise. But it doesn't just have to be the autos. I picked the pink laser here out of 2021, 2022. This is the Donruss Road to Qatar. This is his pink laser out of 25. It is a PSA 10. It sold July 30th as a pop one for $320. Fast forward to after the World Cup final, it sold for $789. So over double of what you could have bought it for July 30th, $789, almost $800 for a PSA 10 pink laser out of 25. And then finally, the World Cup Prism, the 2022 World Cup Prism. I think we do need to talk about this a little bit as well, because you saw steadily throughout the tournament as Argentina went deeper and deeper into the tournament, certain Prism cards, not all, but certain Prism cards just continued to rise as the tournament progressed. So to case in point, December 9th. So, just 9 days before the final, his Blue Wave out of 199. These are all raw sales. Blue Wave Prism out of 199 sold for $200 on a best offer. Fast forward to December 13th. That same Blue Wave out of 199 sold for $230. And then finally, on December 17th, it sold for $300. And then after the World Cup final, after December 18th, on December 18th, it sold for $570. Now, if you're like me, this happened and you just fall into that idea of, I need to go out and buy Messi. Everything in my brain is saying, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Now is not the time to buy, but you want to be a part of this, right? Maybe that's just me, but you just feel like, hey, this would be a great opportunity to buy a card of Messi as he's won the World Cup. Now, I know it's probably not the best time to buy, but I still really, really want to buy. And it took a lot of kind of self-control to say, you know what? Maybe just wait a little bit. You can always get a card. You can always get a 2022 Prism card, maybe after the World Cup, kind of the excitement and the World Cup final has kind of subsided. But for me, I fall into this trap too of I'm looking at these prices going, you know what, I could buy that. I know it's going to go down, but I just want to have it. It's important to kind of, what do you want to do with it? Are you going to buy it to hold it and be a part of a personal collection for a very, very long time? Or are you still looking to monetize buying the card now and looking for it to go up in value? It's possible, but from a sports standpoint, I mean, that's the pinnacle. That was one of the greatest events that I was able to witness in my lifetime so far. Now, Emiliano Martinez, again, this is just, kind of what happens or seems to be what's happening when players play well. And he's one of those fringe players. We've talked a lot about fringe players in these episodes, and we've even highlighted him before, but I thought I would bring out his Prism from 2021, 2022. This is Premier League Prism, though. He's in his Aston Villa kit, but this is his Scope Auto. These sold raw August 11th for $15.01. It sold November 6th for $17.49. And then post the World Cup final, winning the World Cup as the starting goalkeeper for Argentina, this was a fixed price, sold for $149.99. Just unbelievable as you start to see some of the pricing and where it ends. And again, case in point, this is another great example. Here is his 2022 National Treasures. This is just out of 99. It sold November 24th, 4 days into the tournament for $6.50. It just sold yesterday at the end after the World Cup for $99 at a fixed price. And then finally, the last person that I want to look at for Argentina is Enzo Fernadez. I'll be honest, I had heard the name before the tournament, but I think I'm like many people, unless you are really invested in, Benfica's your team, or maybe River Plate is your team, or you well-versed in the Portuguese League of Soccer. I did not know the quality of Enzo Fernadez at 21, and he was the winner of the Young Player of the Tournament and does not really have a whole lot of cards. But you did have one sell. Now, Topps Total is one of those. I think you order. I don't know too much about the product, but I believe you order them and can order them. And if they have a first edition sticker, it means it's one of the first 100 printed. But he does have a few of Topps Total's cards, and one actually sold for $74.20. Now, for me, not knowing too much about the product, but seeing that a sale price of $74.20 takes place after the World Cup, I would say that's a pretty healthy price for Topps Total. And for Enzo Fernadez, I know that people will be looking for cards of him to come out, but you got to think, if you are Benfica, you're going to have a lot of knocks on your door for the services of Enzo Fernadez. There are going to be a lot of clubs who are interested in signing him, and you have to imagine that his transfer value has gone through the roof based on this tournament. Now, I don't know if he'd leave in January. I don't know his situation or if he will leave in the summer, or, but I think Benfica has an opportunity to cash in and make a lot on this transfer fee of Enzo Fernadez. But a great tournament for him. And I think that just shows you Argentina as a whole. I wouldn't say they were the most talented club at the World Cup or country at the World Cup, but they had some players that really grew into the tournament. And then I think Enzo is one of them that just kind of continually showed his quality over and over and over again throughout the tournament. But let's just kind of think about, or recognize what we just witnessed. I think it's important, and a lot of times I don't throw, screens, but I think it's important for us to recognize just really what Messi has accomplished at this World Cup. He's the most capped player at the World Cup. Now, 26 different appearances at the World Cup. He has the most man of the match awards at a FIFA World Cup. He's at 11. He had 5 in this tournament alone. He's the first person to assist at 5 different World Cups, and he has the most captain appearances at a World Cup. And he's captained Argentina 19 times at the FIFA World Cup. So incredible. And then you have to look at just his goal scoring at the FIFA World Cup. He is currently sitting at 13 total goals across all the World Cups that he's participated in. He is tied for 4th all time. It's incredible. It's incredible what he's been able to do at the World Cup, and it's incredible what he's been able to accomplish at this tournament. But when I look at the all-time goal scorers at the FIFA World Cup, I can't help but move to number 6 on that list. Messi's tied for 4th. 6th, tied for 6th, you have Kylian Mbappe and Pele. You have Mbappe at 23 years old currently, turns 24 on December 20th. But here you have a young player who is already tied for 6th all time. And a couple of the images that stick out to me, I'm a huge Mbappe fan. I do really love watching him play. I was a basket case of emotions during this game. You want it for Messi, you want it for Mbappe. You can't have both. And one of the, the highlights or the images that will stay with me, if you're watching on the screen and on YouTube, you can see it. President Macron, I think is, and Emiliano Martinez comforting Mbappe, who's just sitting on the pitch. You can just see the devastation, the disappointment that Mbappe has. And you can, a hat trick in a World Cup final and you don't win. Like, it's just incredible to kind of process and start processing. Another image, you can see him walk by the World Cup trophy. He's holding the golden boot, as the top goal scorer of the tournament. And for me, the wheels start turning. You're one of the greatest players. You're possibly the best player in the world right now. Mbappe, there's an argument there that you are the best player in the world. And you have now tasted the success of winning a World Cup as a teenager. Now you have kind of the agony of defeat. And in my head, if I'm looking at Mbappe, I go, okay, what are you going to do with the loss? You've always heard it from coaches. You can learn a lot more from losing than you can from winning. What do you learn from this? Where's the drive? Where's the, are we going to see an Mbappe for the next 4 years just pedal to the metal? And are we going to see some amazing things out of Mbappe, more amazing than we've already seen? I don't know, but I feel like this is motivation for possibly the best player in the world, and that is a scary thought. But you also saw some massive movements in his card market sales total as well throughout the tournament. And again, I've highlighted kind of where, some kind of key moments were for the tournament. Late November, you saw them beat Denmark. He gets his brace. You saw him beat Poland in the round of 16 to put him in the round of 8. You saw a little spike when they beat England. France beat England 2-1. You saw a little bit more of a bump in the win against Morocco. And then even in the loss, it shows the quality and what he was able to do, because you saw a massive spike in the sales total of Mbappe cards during or after the Argentina game. I mean, it's incredible. It didn't quite get to the Poland levels, but here you have some massive movements in his card prices. And I think, just moving forward, you're looking at a player who is ready to dominate the landscape of football for the next decade. 24 years old, he is on the move. And so I wanted to also see what were his cards doing. What movement did we see in cards? And one of the cards I do kind of start to default to, and maybe this is because, the Topps Chrome PSG set, they have the on-card autos. And I wanted to know kind of where those cards were what those cards were doing post the World Cup final. So this is his Wave Refractor auto. It's on card on these Topps Chrome. It's out of 50. It sold November 28th for $3,050. Fast forward to December 4th, that a PSA 9. So these are all PSA 9s, sold for $3,120. And then December 18th, after the final, after the hat trick and the loss, it sold for $3,600. So just steady movement in an upward direction throughout the tournament. And really, he played incredible. I mean, it was fantastic to watch him. It was a joy to watch him. I wanted to also look at it, as I'm trying to grab a couple, diversify the Mbappe cards as much as possible. I wanted to know, okay, if it's not early 2017, 2018 stuff, if it's not his autos, because it took so long for him to finally have autos, what are some of those, maybe serial numbered cards, in the 2019, 2020s, what are they doing? And this is a copper PSA 9 from Topps Museum 2020. They're numbered out of 99. And on July 6th, this PSA 9 did $56. And that was at auction. So that's what a group of people, when you're bidding, it's like, okay, the highest bid, that's the value of the card. Now, somebody hit the fixed price. They hit the buy it now on December 18th for $169.99. So you saw a massive, almost 3 times the amount of what it was in July for what it was going for after the World Cup final. And that's why, for me personally, when I look at this, I go, as much as I go on and go out and buy those players, just probably like everybody else, there comes a time where you have to look at it and go, okay, is it smart for me to go get those right now? After all this, people are, people get emotional and start buying with emotion. And so I think you can kind of see that, or just seeing the quality in a player and saying, you know what, I believe, if you're a casual or maybe you're more into it. And at 23, 24 years old, sky's the limit for Mbappe, knock on wood that he can stay healthy for the next decade, because that's always a difficult thing to do, but he is on his way. And kind of, again, second World Cup where he is putting the world on notice on just how much quality he has. And then finally, this is an insert from the 2017-2018 Topps Chrome set. So this is the lightning strike. Just, again, watching those prices move in a northern direction. This SGC 10. These are all SGC 10s. This lightning strike rookie, it's a rookie insert, if you will, sold November 26th, so 6 days into the tournament, for $81. December 11th, so a week before the final, it sold for $79.20. And then one sold after the World Cup for $125. So again, healthy increase after an event like the World Cup finals. So let's all wish happy birthday to Mbappe, 24 years old on December 20th. But what the guy has accomplished at the young age of 24 is absolutely unbelievable. It's mind-boggling to me as we sit here and talk about it. He is the Golden Boot winner of this tournament. 8 goals in the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. That is more goals than anybody else in the World Cup since 2002. Brazilian Ronaldo had 8 in 2002, I believe, but nobody has had more than that since. Now you have Mbappe with 8. Puts him at 12 total goals in 2 World Cups. That ties him for 6th all time. He's tied with Pele, which is great company to be in. And he is only the 2nd player ever to score a hat trick in a World Cup final. The only other player to do it is Jeff Hurst, 1966, as England defeats West Germany 4-2 in extra time. He bagged a hat trick in that one, which is a big deal. Sir Jeff Hurst, he played, I think, majority of his playing career came at West Ham, and so he's a hammer. And so he, but to join elite company there, and then to top them all, he is the top goal scorer in World Cup final history. He has 4 goals and overall in World Cup finals. He scored one back in 2018, the hat trick here in 2022. So he is in elite company, and he is in company all his own now for goals in World Cup final history. And he's still only 24. Now, people, I've read a lot here over the past, 18 to 24 hours of people saying, he's young, he's 24, the next final that he gets to, there are no guarantees. There are no guarantees, so enjoy it as it happens, as it plays out. But there are no guarantees that Mbappe gets back. Is France a phenomenal side? Yes, and they proved that you can have multiple injuries in the midfield. You can lose guys like Paul Pogba and N'Golo Kante, and you have, Chouameni, and you have Robert, and you have, Camavinga, who can come in off the bench and give you minutes. The future is fine. The talent pool is deep for the French national team, and there is a good possibility that they can get back to a final. But there are no guarantees, and so for me, it was just enjoy it as it played out. Just enjoy the game, enjoy the journey, enjoy the World Cup. But happy birthday to Mbappe, happy 24th. And I hope that you find that motivation, because the last image that I have of the World Cup is, if you're listening to this, Mbappe is kind of slumped over in those chairs that the substitutes sit in, and he's just, you can just see the devastation, the sadness, and almost the contemplation. And for me, I hope it's this fuels a fire in Mbappe, and we just see him set the world even more on fire than he already has. Like, he's accomplished so much at 24. For me, it's the what if game now. And I know a lot of people don't like to play that game, but like what is he going to do next? It's that fun, enjoyment of the game where you're like, I just saw a hat trick in a World Cup final. I just saw the greatest game that I've ever seen. And now I'm thinking, where can we go from here? What is next? And I think, as we finish up here, as we wrap up this FIFA World Cup in Qatar 2022, I know it was a winter World Cup. I know a lot of us were getting up at 4 or 5 in the morning to watch games. And, it's a labor of love. But I think, especially the final, it was a joy. Like, I am just so thankful that I got to be a part of this World Cup a little bit. I watched the game, and I've said it before, but I'm just so appreciative that I had people to enjoy it with. I love soccer. I love the game. And I loved the game before I got into the hobby. So I'm a passionate fan. And so to be able to watch this as a fan was phenomenal. To kind of roll that into my second love of the card market, but more importantly, the card community, to share it with all of you, it was just a fantastic experience. And I think really I have all of you to thank. Thanks for those who were on the road to the Qatar with me, in the episodes as we talked and kind of what is going to take place and who's our predictions and who's going to win it all. I think if you go back, I did predict that Argentina was going to win the World Cup. But I thank you for all the comments that you left on YouTube. I thank you for all of the discussions and the communication and the comments that you've dropped in my DM on Instagram. I feel very, very blessed to have people who share the same passion, the same love of this beautiful game, and that we got to experience Qatar, the World Cup, together. So thank you so much for that. But you know what? The best thing about the World Cup is that, I'm already seeing today FIFA rankings, right? They're already putting it, and I think they put Brazil at number 1. Argentina just wins the World Cup, and they put, Brazil at the top of the FIFA rankings. I get it, but there's always that what's next. What's the speculation? What's coming next? And you know what? It is pretty awesome. It is pretty incredible that we have the opportunity to look now forward. 2026. We kind of closed the book on the World Cup in 2022, and we open the next chapter, and that is 2026, and that is the FIFA World Cup in the United States, in Canada, and in Mexico. We host the 2026 FIFA World Cup, and that is going to be fantastic. We are going to move back into the summer model. We're going to have games that are in prime time. Like they're going to happen in prime time here in the United States, in Canada, and in Mexico. We are going to have visitors from all over the world descend on North America as we have an opportunity to be a part of the as we get to host the FIFA World Cup. And a couple thoughts on that just before we leave. We move from a tournament of 32 teams to 48 teams. Now, we don't know the groupings yet. They're still being discussed, as from what I understand, but we're going to have 48 teams in the next 2026 FIFA World Cup. You can see the host cities that are around you. I'm already kind of eyeballing it up and going, you know what? Kansas City is drivable for me, and my kids are going to be 9 and 7. Perfect opportunity to get them into a World Cup game. So I'm looking forward to that. But just the opportunity that we have in 2026, when you add teams, you can already start to probably process players that weren't in this World Cup that could possibly be in the next World Cup. But the future is bright for U.S. men's national team soccer, getting into the round of 16, and now it being on home soil, and the expectations are going to continue to grow. But we have a core group of young players that will be in their primes in 2026. So the discussions do not stop. The hobby does not stop. The World Cup may be over, but the soccer card community is alive and well, and in my opinion, one of the best parts of the hobby is you all. So thank you so much for going on the road to Qatar. If you were there, thanks for being a part of the SlabStox FC World Cup show. I hope that you all had a fantastic time. I had a blast. And you know what? I can't wait to talk more soccer whenever that may be. So you guys have a fantastic day, and don't forget to make it a great day. Catch y'all later.